Okay. Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, Jenny, if you really want to know,
I
my
kind of do.
my computer started throwing up this morning, and so I've been on and off the phone all day with Mac, and now we just wiped it. So we're doing the humna humna, and
Oh, I love that.
yeah, it's really fun. So now we wiped it and we're reinstalling it for the fifth time today. But that's what I've been doing is in between appointments, taking calls here and then going, fix my computer, heal, heal. So
I
yeah,
know. I had those days, and one day I just said, well, I'm just going to run out to Best Buy and get a backup. So,
and it ages you. Like it's you know what? It's like having a car with like when your car doesn't work, you feel like just taking it and dumping it in the garbage and getting a new one. Like you suddenly realize everything is here, right? Like everything.
right.
Oh my gosh.
Well, it's because it's such a disruption to your life to try to stop and fix it. I've got a fancy printer that prints super fast, and I love it. And when I moved, I still haven't quite got it configured correctly because it wasn't working in that room. So I moved it in here. It just like sucks up so much time.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't it's like I can't take a day off to fix this, but I need this to work. So, it makes you a little
That's
crazy, right?
right.
So,
That's right. And I
oh,
think we as self-employed people think about our time so much differently. It's like,
yeah.
hey, if I have to do this, I will never get my nails done.
Well, I used to say when you had a regular job, you could leave these things for the regular job. Like, oh, I have to call the doctor. I'll do that at work, right? And then
That's exactly
I said to John, all these things were not getting done because there was no window of, oh yeah, don't worry about it. I'll do that, at work, whatever. But
Yeah.
that's the hard thing. Oh my heavens. So that's my drama.
Yeah. So I
But
got this little thing called a Lumi light.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Lumi
yeah.
Lumi Cube.
Okay.
And I can't tell if there's any difference with it or not with it.
I think there is definitely.
Okay, so let's see if it'll turn back off.
Yes,
Okay, this is
definitely.
the off.
Yeah.
This is the on.
So not only do you have dark shadow on your face when you don't have it on,
Mhm.
but light is our friend. So when you see Jennifer Aniston doing those commercials and she looks like she's 20, she's blown out with light.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, Jennifer Aniston does not look like Jennifer Aniston. It's lighting. Yeah.
Oh, that's good to know that it's only lighting. That means there's hope for me.
Mhm.
So,
Okay,
things are coming together,
great.
and I did a Google slide thing today with my group that I'm now calling the Summit Leaders because there are 6 of us.
Okay.
And I went through the Google slide with them, and that's what I sent you an email about earlier today.
Okay.
Of I didn't send you the Google slide because I thought we'd talk about it when we got on.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see, share
I
screen.
love that you didn't give it another name. I love that we at least kept a name.
I
That's
know, at least.
yeah. You didn't call it this is Mary Mitch's friend. Yay. That would be the old Jenny.
Yeah. So I know we're going to do this summit in 2021. It's going to be virtual, and all I know right now is it's going to be in April or May.
Okay.
Okay, so there's 6 of us that were part of this last year. And
Okay.
one of the guys that really didn't help, I dropped him. I
Okay.
didn't invite him back. So there's the guy that helped produce this, Michael Lejeune. We're going to each write 3 chapters in the book, so that'll be 18 chapters. And then we're going to probably have sponsors write a couple chapters, like I got a law firm write a couple chapters. So it'll be about 20 chapters. And then I think he's going to put some ads with calls to action for some of the people that might want to be part of it, but we're not going to let them into the book because they're not good enough.
Okay.
But we're taking their cash.
I'm with that. Yeah.
Okay. So the summit leaders are the 6 of us. And it's really pretty much the people that were featured on the website last year. So it's going to be real easy for me to put that back together. And we're making this so it's sustainable and repeatable, so we can do a book every year. And we are going to set it up so that each one of us kind of has to do some of the marketing activity instead of Jenny does it all. And thinking about, as far as a virtual summit, doing it Tuesday, Thursday, the first 3 people's topics, the second 3 people's topics, basic, advanced, and kind of move that through. And so this is a list of all the people, and that's what I was trying to say is whatever order we choose to do it, we're just going to follow that pattern. And because Michael Lejeune's the guy that does the book and used to work for Tony Robbins.
Oh, sorry, hold on. Larry Broughton's going to be on my podcast.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
I'm so glad, because I wrote down Victory, Intel Coaching, Team Operations.
Yeah.
So I would love to be, I'd love to get that's going to be cool. So let me know when it comes out. I'll promote it for you.
Yeah, and I know, and I'll see what I can do, because I'm lucky to get him. I can't believe he said yet. He apparently, I made an impression on him. And
well, he's so nice. He'll talk to anybody because he talked to me.
Yeah. But he's awesome. So there you go.
But he's connected with a group out of the Miami area. But since he's a veteran, there's a lot going on there. And then I'm thinking what we're going to do to make it interactive is do some kind of hot seats. That's what Michael's idea was. But the idea is this is really a way that this year we're really going to do it to sell our group coaching programs.
Okay.
And so everybody's writing what their chapter outline will be or what that'll look like. We're going to launch it on February the 10th. We're going to open ticket sales on February the 10th.
Okay, hold on. A verification code just came through my phone. I don't know if somebody's trying to fix my computer. Oh, okay, here he is. Hold on. It's Evan. He's trying to fix something.
Okay.
I apologize. There's all these people working to get me back to I feel like Laura Ingalls here. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so this is just a background on that. I'm going to keep doing Freedom Friday. I'm going to schedule it all the way out and make it so that because of Freedom Friday, it becomes like GovCon's a year-round event. And
yes, remember when you wanted to stop it?
Yeah. And
you're speaking to the choir, Jenny. It's so funny. You're so funny. This is so like, you know what you remind me of? You remind me of my niece when she'd come stay at my house every weekend, and she'd be like 3, and Jacob would be there, and they would play and play, and she'd have the best time. And then right before bedtime, she'd get a little nervous, like maybe we should go home, which was an hour away, but she wanted to be there in the morning. And it was the saddest thing in the whole world. Her little eyes would fill with tears, and they would buckle out like that, like the tears wouldn't burst, but they would be sitting there, and you'd be like, oh my God, this is the most painful thing I've ever seen in my life, right? And I'd be like, okay, whatever. And then the next morning she would be fine. She'd wake up, she'd be so excited she's there. She's got the whole day. It's going to be fascinating. And it's like last night never happened. So that's how I feel like with you. It's like, yeah, every time I gave you an idea, you went hysterical. Now you're like, yeah, year round, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. It's all this marketing talk, and it's just this monster you've created. It's hilarious. It's night and day, but go ahead.
Well, I think the difference is I'm one of 6 people, and I'm still in the lead position, but there are other people other people are giving me ideas instead of me putting it all on my shoulders.
No, the difference is you have really been very teachable and very open and a good student, and you've learned a lot about marketing very quickly, and you have changed your lens and scope of how you see the world, and you're not grunting it out hour by hour, and you have a bigger vision, and you're leveraging your talent and your God-given abilities. And now people are following, because like I said to you in the beginning, I'm not saying things I don't mean. There's no, pumping you up here. You are bright light. People will follow you, and you are not tapping into things that could be very lucrative for you. So you are buying into it, and therefore everybody else is. And because of that, like I said to you, you would be the influencer. So they're going to start doing more and more for you because they don't want to be left behind. So
Right.
It's much bigger than that, Jenny, and it's all you.
Well, thank you. I feel like you're my fairy godmother.
Thanks.
So when I was talking to people about this morning, what I was just doing is saying, what do I have in place? Because I do have some things in place, and obviously I want to improve what I'm doing. But one of the questions that came up from Michael Lejeune is, I said, well, we've got promos going out for Freedom Friday before it, and I create a little video, Supna a promo video, Supna schedules it and posts it. And then after I do the Freedom Friday thing, I've been doing a little, oh my gosh, you just missed this thing. I can't believe all the stuff that they gave you. And I'm calling that the fear of missing out, so that they'll go, oh my gosh, I missed that. And then Chris McPhee is taking those simple videos that I've got and jazzing them up, because that's his thing. And I haven't quite caught up with him, because at the same time he's doing all this, he's been filming protests in Portland, working as some kind of spy job that he does, and he's moving to Texas with his family. But I'll catch up with him soon.
Yeah.
So, my thought is with Freedom Friday to be gathering this and gathering what we do for GovCon Summit, so it goes into the Solvability Academy, so it's a sellable product afterwards. So anyway, so the thing I wanted to talk to you about is last
World
year.
domination. What you want to talk to me about is world domination. I got it. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. So Michael is the one that he created these, here's how we're going to get on the bestseller list. Here's how we're going to do it. Here's how we're going to sell more. And so he created those. And when he did, I sent it up to you at the time, and we looked at it and you go, oh my gosh, I could do so much more with this. Well, what I wanted to ask is, could we use one of our sessions to meet with Michael?
Yeah, so we meet with Michael. What's the end goal? The
end goal is for you to help him understand what you're doing with ClickFunnels, because I think he's looking at it, but to find out if we could kind of understand what he was doing to promote the book, and figure out if we can do something that's more effective that will also promote this into the big time.
Yeah, so here's the pluses and minuses to do that, just so you know, and I think I'm in good shape with you. So when I ask if somebody's to come on a call, I always say, well, what's the end goal? Because I don't have a relationship with him. And so what will happen is, we had a relationship, and even sometimes when I gave you ideas, you pushed back a little bit, and, there was that, because it was the growing pains. There are pains, right?
Okay.
So sometimes when you bring another person in, and what happens is, if, I'm going to gently point out that these things that he could be leveraging this more impactfully, much more bigger. I don't know how he's going to take that, and I'm not going to be in a position to defend that, because he's nothing to me. So can he come on to the call, and can I give him my 2 cents worth and stuff like that? For sure. And I'll do it as eloquently and as kindly, as supportive as I can, because I do want to see, when people put stuff out there, I want to see them get all the mileage out of they can. That's what I'm about. That's my passion, right? So I will do that. And I think if he's connected to you, I'm sure he's a great person. He'll be fine. I just want you to know that sometimes those dynamics, there's always a little, when you bring in a third person, it's like, oh, I thought you two would get along. And sometimes people it's very easy. And I remember one time somebody saying this to me, they felt I was defensive, but what I wanted them to know is how hard I worked at doing this wrong. Like, you need to know, I'm not telling you that you're wrong. I'm telling you, I put so much effort into doing this wrong. So what happens sometimes is, when you're pointing out, my job is to point out how this isn't as impactful as it could be. Then you want to defend, well, I was busy, or it was my first book, or whatever. Well, that. Yes, I get all that. I'm not, my gosh, I've got a million mistakes I could show you. So it's just, I don't know where he's at, and it's one session, and for him to show up, that just, so sometimes those dynamics, I'll be very gentle. My first instinct was, yes, I remember looking at that saying, well, there's so much more he could do. The other thing I would tell you is, I would say too, if you're going to write a book a year, which I think has great potential when you're all chipping in, it better be really well marketed, because the life of that, even think like a rock star, they'd have to be like, what's her name?
Beyonce.
Beyonce or Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift can put an album out a year because it's so damn good. She can swing them to the next book, right? Or to the next album. Where most people, a book or an album, you want to market the crap out of that until it bleeds out. So usually even big stars go 2, 3, 4 years and then they do another one because they're just petering out. So if you're going to do a book a year, you really have to be putting some muscle into that marketing so that you're always at a constant high, because otherwise I would say you're right. You're not wasting your time, but you're too much output for what you're getting back. You could get the same juice out of a book once every 3 or 4 years. So if you're going to do it every year, which is great, I think in theory, it's something to get hyped about, but then you better have a really good hyping machine to do that, because the effort to write it, to put it together, to get it out isn't going to pay off when you haven't even got, like, I don't think they've got enough juice out of, like, they didn't do a big enough hurrah off Game Changers. So now you're going to do another one, which is great, but you didn't get all the juice out of the first one. Make sense?
Well, I think you're right about that. And what I would want to bring him on as the planned outcome is to say that, Michael, I know that we're going to be doing GovCon Summit and the book, and I need to have Chris come on so she can help me figure out how Solvability can best support what we're doing and make it so that it really has impact.
Yeah, because I would say to you, that book is a whole thing in itself. Like, if he really wanted to do something different, he'd have to become a client, because what's going to happen, and you,
well, he might, you never know.
And what's going to happen, and I say this in a positive light, Jenny, I'm always about being positive, not negative, is what's going to happen is people are going to start wanting to get on your coattails because you're going to become an influencer. So what happens is you're here and they say, you know what, Jenny, last year we let you in our book, and you're all like, oh, this is exciting, going to be in the book. Well, now they see you're rising. So now they're like trying to hook onto your train and say, well, we should do it every year. We should do this and we should do that. So you have to be careful that you don't get distracted by shiny object syndrome, where it's like, oh, well, we could do a book every year, which sounds fantastic on paper. But if you're putting on a concert or doing whatever every year, every month, but the auditorium is not filled, it doesn't matter how good music is. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So what I'd say to you is you're going to start getting offers that you think, oh my gosh, that's great, Chris. I could be on this podcast and that and blah, blah, blah. And you can do all those things if you're strategic about it, if it pays off. But having, your name in 10 different books doesn't work if they're not, if you're not leveraging it. And notice I didn't say it doesn't work if it's not being read, because many, many people, and this is hard for me to hear because I wrote a book, but because when I buy a book, I read the book. And
right.
They say like 96% of people who buy a book don't finish it. And it's not because it was good, but I'm like, if I buy a book, I read a book. If I say I'm going to do something, like I said to somebody, oh yeah, I finished my book. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, I told you I was going to write a book. He goes, yes, Chris, everybody tells me to write a book. So if I buy a book, I read the damn book, right? So I don't understand why you pay for a book you're not going to read. But the book is an elaborate calling card. And it really does allow you to leverage your time on different, news press and podcasts and all that stuff. But you have to, like, it's even too soon for me to have another book yet, although I'm doing one this year. But like, did I get all the juice? Did I get on I've been on like maybe over 100 podcasts now. Did I get everything out of that book before I start the next one? Because now I can repeat, but I can't repeat. Let's say there's 200 podcasts I want to be on. And I've done a lot, like a lot, like one day a week almost for a while there. I was like, 1 week I was doing 7 podcasts. Like, it was crazy, right? And I have to do them all in one day and whatever. So if there's, let's say 200 podcasts that I want to be on and a press release and things like that, if I start writing that book and I didn't get on all 200, but I did 100, that's amazing. Now when I write the book and come out, well, now I've got through the 100 again, but I get to do that 100 again, but I never got to the second 100. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm coming back, starting over when it's not time to start over. So you
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, you can do a book every year, but these ideas as you become an influencer are going to sound really impressive. They're great ideas if they're pushed with a very strategic and powerful marketing machine.
You're right. And that's what Michael is. And I only really want to be in their book, and I'm not trying to do anything beyond that. And the same thing with the podcast. It's like a lot of these things sound like a great idea, but it takes too much time. So, okay.
And what's the return on your investment? Like, is it cool? Mm-hmm. Yes. Will it get you more business? That's the difference.
Right. so anyway, but also that's the last of it. So I just wanted to give you an overview of that. And the other thing that I wanted to talk about is I think the academy is up. Well, I know the academy is up. If I want to add more material to it, do I send it to Evan?
Yeah, just send it to Evan. That's your easy. You don't need to learn how to do that, and you
Okay.
can't. It's way too techy for you, and I don't even. I don't think we can give you access because you'd have access to other people's. But
Right.
it does, regardless of our security, you don't need
Mhm.
that.
Okay, that makes sense. So, send to Evan. So, the other thing I've got is Supna has been doing my stuff on LinkedIn,
Okay.
and I'll just show you some of the stuff. She's got my login, so it looks like me.
Yeah.
And what she's doing is, there's a bunch of groups that I'm in, and so she's posting it all over. So every Monday night, I start seeing that she's posted all these videos. So she did this background and things like that. And she's been posting, let's see what it's got. So I'm going out there 15 minutes or so every day and just commenting on things.
Mm-hmm.
But she's been posting the videos. I gotta find one because she posted them on Monday. I wish it was faster to get through these, or a way that I knew what was actually getting posted. You know, it's like it goes so far and then I can't find them again.
And I know LinkedIn better than most, and I find it clunky. Like it's got a thing to it.
Right, because these are all things that I've just commented on.
Yeah.
But
Oh, you can see your stuff. Did you hit post at the top?
I should have done that. Yeah, let me do that. But she said more people are signing up. You know, a couple of people are signing up for Freedom Friday every day, and
Yeah, we see it come through all the time.
yeah, and I don't know why this one looks funny. Looks like they all look funny. But anyway, she wrote the copy on this and made it, you know, more interesting than I do.
Okay.
And I don't know why it's crooked, so I'll have to ask her that.
Okay.
But anyway, she's also done stuff like that's still solvability. I was going to look for the groups is what I was trying to find. I think it's under home. It have more group. It's like sometimes it doesn't show my own group like I think it should. Here it is.
Your lighting is really flattering.
Oh, thank you. It makes me look kind of, you know, tanned.
Yeah.
So she's been doing these things, show what we've got coming up. And, you know, it's slowly coming along. But it's like, I feel like I don't have the knowledge to direct her to do anything different, but we're slowly making progress. And then, so we've looked at the active campaign. She's been sending out the weekly newsletter. We've got a monthly newsletter that'll go out, and she's breaking it up differently. And so I feel like it might help to have a strategy call with her also, so that she knows who you are and we can start figuring out what more could she be doing, because some of this stuff she's doing, but I'm not able to give her very good direction.
Okay.
On what it needs to look like.
Sorry, what's the end goal of social media strategy?
Yeah, I think that's kind of the question. Because when we talk about call to action or whatever, you know, I'm doing Freedom Friday, people are signing up, it's creating video for YouTube, but I don't quite have an end game, but I'm getting better at doing whatever it is.
So what's the question? Like, what's the goal for her to come on the call, just so I understand the goal?
The goal is so that she knows who you are
Okay.
And so that she can see, we need to coordinate some things related to, because she's always asking me, well, who does this and who does that? And really what's going on is you guys are doing pieces of the website and we want, and she wants to do more, but I don't even know the answers to some of the questions she asks me.
Okay. So that's fine. So then maybe it sounds like Evan needs to be on the call. So all I want to do is make sure I utilize your time effectively. So when I ask these questions, like what's the goal, it's so that we can be prepared and that because some of it, like when you say, okay, well, what else can we do on LinkedIn? Well, you're doing the right path. You have to put stuff out there and see what works and identify, test, and refine, right?
Right.
Identify, test, and refine. So can I tell you what to do next on LinkedIn? Well, we could look at that. It's not going to be a whole call because you're building something, right? We're always tweaking it. That like when we said with the slideshow, you show me every week the thing and we're tweaking it. It gets better and better. We're adding more muscle. So
Right.
I have no problem with her hopping on the call. I just want to make sure that we provide valuable, we use your time wisely and we're of service to her because I don't
Right.
clearly hear a question yet.
Well, I think the question is, now that we're headed down the path of Freedom Friday every week, we're following a production schedule. She's promoting it Monday, Thursday, and Friday. They're out on YouTube, and Chris is doing them out on YouTube. And what I was looking for is what he sent me the other day that showed what they look like. But it's like at some point they need to come together.
YouTube and LinkedIn?
Well, just the whole, everything that I'm doing.
Well, so we're just getting into, we delayed YouTube for a whole bunch of reasons I won't bore you with. So we're just doing a lot of YouTube training right now. So here's the thing, it's very tempting and I want you to, I have fallen to this myself. So I want to be mildly cautious. YouTube and LinkedIn are very, very different. And what happens to many people is you get a piece of content and then you think, oh, well, I'll just take a piece of this and put it in here and put it here. And you can do that, but it doesn't mean it will work, right?
Right.
So YouTube really, like you may have some leeway with your audience because they're not expecting, like we've talked about this before, they're not expecting a lot of dynamic images, but yet they still have a human brain, so they will still get bored. So you still have to put those things in play. But there's not a lot of connection between LinkedIn and YouTube other than you can say, hey, you can find us on YouTube if you want to see this full video. That's kind of it.
And that's really my only intent for that right now. So we've been posting these out here and Chris is getting better at them each time. And I'm trying to look for what he's done, but he's doing the video production type stuff. Let me see if I can't find it again. And this is pretty much kind of how things are in here of me still not knowing how to navigate this, because he's got some great videos and what I wanted to do is show them to you, but I don't know how to find them.
Okay.
Okay, here's one. Here's what I was looking for. So what he's done is taken some of the things that we've recorded, and it's not this one. But he took this and made it into a little video.
Okay.
And he took, this is a good one right here. So this is Emily Harmon, who's one of the 6 summit leaders, and so it's like he's creating these in different versions so that we could use them as promos for Freedom Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how to direct him to do this. I think what I'm having him do is just experiment with what we've got and improve it, because this is the one that we looked at last time and is kind of dry.
Yeah.
And so he's doing more stuff with it. And this would go on YouTube, so that under the YouTube playlist, it would be listed under here, so that as we're leading into GovCon Summit, I will have 20 or so of these out there to say, you know, if this is the group you're supposed to be a member of, here are the people that are going to be there. And here are some of the discussions we're having. And it's really about, no one will find us on YouTube by finding us on YouTube. That's not the intent.
Right.
It's to let them know that, oh, by the way, the 6 people that are in this book that are going to be the speakers at the coacher speakers at GovCon Summit, we've got a lot of content on YouTube. And that way, everybody will have a way to share this content with their own audience. So the question is, does that make any sense?
Yeah, hold on. So I lost half of that. So you get that people aren't on YouTube searching for you. Okay, good. And then you're saying with the people, what was the second part?
Well, right now, if I wanted to promote something for, these are upfront promos.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the one that he created for Judy. And so I might do something like share it. So these are just excerpts, but what I would do is share this on LinkedIn by saying, and this would be a timing thing that I've obviously got to figure out, but my thought is we're creating content for that purpose, so that I'm not the only one. But if I had all of these little video clips, I could put something on the thing of going out there every week and rotating them out.
So I think what's happening is you're building stuff out, and you're going to have some like shaky legs, like a Bambi learning how to walk thing. So what's happening is you're making videos and you're realizing, okay, what I want to do is I want to at least try to repurpose as I go. And I think that's great, because what's happening is you're building stuff saying, well, let's test this as we go, as we're doing it. Because before you'd be like, oh, I have all this stuff. And then you think I'll come back later and I'll fix all that stuff later. Never happens. And then plus you lose the inventory. You don't know where it is. So now you're saying, look, I get it that people aren't going to be on YouTube looking for me under that category, because that's not like they're problem unaware. They don't even know what the problem is. So you're not going to seduce them at YouTube keying in, because YouTube is a search engine, right? How do I fix this? What happened here, right? So you get that part. So then what you're saying is, we've got some pieces in the video. We're going to repurpose them and see if we can use them in different elements. That's where you're at right now. Right?
Right.
So then I would experiment with that. You've got really not much to lose. You're doing the video anyways. He's repurposing it a lot. Hopefully it's not very expensive, and we're just going to play with this for a bit and see then, some of it is just testing. See then, does that help with our LinkedIn? Because sometimes you do something and you think, well, this is awesome and it looks great and I could not be happier. And then it just, people aren't interested.
Right.
You know, like here's a good example. We do stuff on Instagram as well, and Instagram's favorite child is IGTV. So you can post something on Instagram or IGTV, it has to be more than a minute. So I'm so smart. The Instagram video, the IGTV are usually raw videos, like you just shoot it. But what we did was, when I shot a video, it has to be more than a minute. So I shot my regular video that would be in the feed. And then after I say, hey, it's Chris Ward, thanks so much, I just did another few seconds so that it qualified to go over to IGTV. Now, why I did that is because when my team produced it, there's my banner and there's a transcription on the bottom. So it's much better to have that on IGTV. It looks better. There's my logo. It's more polished. It looks more professional. The words are trailing across the bottom. It's perfect. I mean, how smart am I? So we did that and it tanked. Instagram wants to see that I just shot it off the cuff and it's raw. It looks more authentic. It doesn't look like I'm trying to sell them. They expect that kind of stuff from the feed. They don't want it IGTV. So it looked like a great idea. Like it's going to look so much better. It's got a banner. It's got my logo. It looks nice. It's bright yellow. It'll stop in the scroll. The words are on the bottom. What more do you want, people? So just because it makes sense and it looks good doesn't mean it's going to work or what they want. So what I would say to you is right now you're repurposing content and we're going to test and see, you know, you might say, well, it's kind of nice to click that button and drag it over to LinkedIn, but for the amount of work we're putting into it, it's just a convenience. It's not a good marketing tool. So I don't know. This is what we're going to find out.
Well, my feeling on it is that when I was getting ready to do GovCon Summit, I ended up having to write a whole bunch of little articles and things like that to try to get tickets sold.
Yeah.
And so my idea would be to take a thumbnail or get them to take a snippet off of that and send them over to YouTube if they wanted to see something more. So they start to see what a wealth of information it is. Yeah. To get them excited about the summit, get them to the summit, to listen to us as 6 speakers coming together as coaches, so that they start to understand, I really need a little bit of everybody.
Yeah, and I agree with the plan. I'm just saying we've got to test the plan. So I think you have a plan. I'm just saying it's not all or nothing. Sometimes I can't wave my magic wand and say, yes, it's a hit. Like, you know, it's kind of like a music. I don't know why I'm thinking about music today, but it's like musicians. Sometimes they're like, who knew that would be the song? That's the one we were going to off the album, right? So they have a formula and then sometimes it's hit and miss. So I think your tactic is great. What you have to do, what we all have to do from time to time is you can't be invested in the outcome, right? So I had to say, oh, okay, well, I thought I was so brilliant for figuring out, just add a few seconds after the video. It looked great. The old me would be like, no, they'll catch on because it looks much better. You have to do this, right? So as long as you're not married to the outcome, try it and say, yeah, it's nice to have the YouTube thing, but I could have it in a private account or something and just use that link to post on LinkedIn. I don't need these processes. I don't know. And I'm not saying that's the answer. I'm just saying you'll find out.
Right.
And by the way, I look
what we're doing, I think it will, what it's letting me do is other people are helping me create the content. And I'll have a broad range of it. So like this picture for GovCon Summit for Small Business is from a couple of years ago when we did it. And so people recognize that and say, oh, I see myself there. You know, this is the kind of thing I want to do. So
yeah, no, I think you've really grown a marketing brain. I think these things are all great. And I also think one of your biggest learning curves is you're not married to the outcome. Like before, it was like, every time I came up with an idea, you held your breath and said, no, you don't understand. My business is different. You push back a little bit. Now you're like, okay, that makes sense. Nope, that doesn't. Okay. So you know what I mean? You're just rolling with it and figuring it out. So I think you're coming up with great ideas yourself, and then we're tweaking other ones. And then I'm pointing out why this one may or may not work. And then you go the other way. So it's fluid.
Yeah. Well, I think the other good thing about it is at least with Freedom Friday, it's consistent. And I started something. And now that I've started something, now we can improve it.
Yes. Yes. And yes. I kept saying that to you, like, don't try to get it right, try to get it out. And then a few times you wanted to quit and then you were going to take September off. And I'm like, very interesting. I was just doing a call with another client, and she has a company that you have a podcast, and she takes care. If you don't have your own team, she produces a podcast, gets it out for you, right? So her company is to deal with other podcasters. So she's got, I don't know, whatever, another 100 clients of podcasters. And we were talking about that kind of thing. And what happened was she had a client, she was talking about how she had to have in her contract, like, you can't just decide you're taking August off because we have this thing. So I was helping her with her marketing, her systems and stuff. And from a podcast perspective, she saw a client who had a very big following, doing a lot of downloads, like a high-end, established podcast. And last Christmas, they took 2 weeks off and didn't have a show. Well, you know why? You've been on the air for a year and a half, 2 years. You've got whatever, 150 shows anyone can listen to. What's the big deal? Everybody's taking time off for Christmas. And her downloads dropped 50% all of January. So you would think, like, I listen to podcasts and I just go, oh, that show doesn't have one. Okay, I go to another show. But I guess what happens is then I don't come back. Like, I think, oh, whatever, they dropped the ball. But that momentum thing, huge, like crazy huge. So somebody who's well established, had a lot of downloads during a time when everybody else was taking it off, skipped a couple weeks of Christmas when businesses closed, and it took her to February to get back on track.
Oh yeah, I can believe that.
Yeah. So Miss, I want to take September off. I think it's phenomenal that no matter what you're doing, as you can see now, this is turning into something different than Freedom Friday. Right?
Well, it's also turning into me realizing that I've got like empty slots up here. And as I'm talking to somebody, I'm like, that would be a perfect guest for Freedom Friday. Then they owe me.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it makes it a lot easier to say, well, I'm going to be in continuous discussion with people. And so if they don't want to come to GovCon, that's their problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I don't need them anymore. And then having Michael say, well, we can do a book on this date and do February 10th ticket sales. Well, that's so much better than me trying to sell tickets starting now.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And it meets you as the influencer, you as the center of the hub, right? Mm-hmm. And it makes you, and I know I find that from my podcast too, is that it gives people, like, I'm like getting a free coaching call. I meet people on different topics. I'm like, I never thought of that. And it gives us a meaningful conversation, because there's nothing that I can't stand more than somebody that connects with you on LinkedIn or Facebook. Like, oh, I really like your stuff. I'd like to have a virtual coffee with you. I'd like to collaborate. What? Like, what do you want? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't get that. Like, if you say, oh, listen, I saw this, I think I have this, can we meet? Like, fine. But like, I got family and friends I could be spending time with. Like,
right.
There's no reason for us to meet. But if I'm doing an interview at the podcast, similar to what you're doing on Fridays, then during that process, which serves us both, then if there's a kinship or a follow-up or a meeting, it's purposeful. But now you're going to show up, random person who I got a message on Facebook, and we're going to have a virtual coffee. Hi, how are you? I'm good. You? Yeah. Where do you live? What's the weather? This is like a really bad date.
Yeah.
Right? So
would you like to buy some life insurance?
Yes. So I have no patience for that. Even if they don't try to sell me, which they will, I'm freaking bored. So this makes you a reason that people have to stay connected to you, and they get to know, like, and trust you more and more and more. And then again, you're Jenny from the block. You're the hub.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I look like your mother with my lighting. Your lighting's so much better than mine. I look like your mother. I gotta fix this. I'm like one of those witches on Disney. I'm aging because I'm angry. Yes.
Yeah, I ordered it on Facebook yesterday, LUME Cube, and I got it today.
Wow, I gotta write that down. Man.
Yeah.
So yes, I think you're seeing the light. You're like, hallelujah. You're seeing the marketing Jesus. You're getting it now.
Okay.
And I think you're doing really well. You're also doing really well pacing yourself and staying calm, because sometimes for yourself, myself, and other people, you're here and then you go, oh, but I want to be there. Like, okay, I don't want to climb the mountain, just slingshot me up. Like, I want to get there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you're doing good with business maturity right now too, because this is the part where people stumble, because then they start pivoting because they get all excited. They just know enough to be dangerous. Mm-hmm. But if you can just be consistent and the momentum, that's everything.
Right. Well, the other thing that's happening is I'm starting to finally get control of my calendar. It's like, okay, Fridays, this is all I'm going to do. And this is the other. And I've got some Tuesday clients. And today I was setting up Calendly to do Wednesday meetings that are 15-minute blocks, but they have 15 minutes in between, instead of me doing what I usually do. Yeah. And I'm going to figure all that out. So that's good. And then the other thing that I'm working on is Chris, who's the video guy, knows how to use Basecamp, and I got to catch up with him and get him to help me more with the Basecamp, getting it under control. So I think we're doing pretty well with all those things. So that's why I didn't send you a video to review. I thought this would be a good time for us to, because I feel like this is a path forward that we can work toward, over the next 6 months and really be way more productive than we have been because I'm finally getting it.
Well, I have to just pause you. You've been productive. You have come, and I said nicely to you, kicking and screaming. Like, I think what happens when you feel better, you forget where you came from,
Right.
right? So I think, no, you've been pretty damn productive, and you did stuff like, months before last year with GovCon coming. I'm just like, listen, shut up and just do it. Like, I can tell you this: if you just do it, it'll work. And you did
Right.
things that you didn't have time for, and that were painful for you, and you pushed through. And I'm like, okay, now you got to do videos. Don't tell me how you don't know LinkedIn. Let's just get it up, right? So you've been productive. It's just you were in such a state of shock and stress. You didn't see the momentum, right?
Hmm.
It's like one of those, which always shocked me, but one of those things in states where you got Tornado Valley. Who wants to
Right.
live there? And all of a sudden you're taking one rock off at a time. It doesn't feel productive, but you get out of the rubble, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I think the other difference is now that I've got some people that have been with me through the last GovCon know what it's supposed to look like, they can see the vision for the future GovCon.
And they
And
can see that here's the other thing. They're starting to pay attention. Like, they don't even know, some of them may not even understand what you know, but they know you're talking and presenting differently. So they don't even know that that's marketing, but they know that she knows what she's doing. We better line up over here.
mhm,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
We better figure this out, right? Who's the one that's sort of, oh, all right, that. So they're catching on. They don't even know what's happening, but they think, huh, I called her once in a while. We need to stay connected. So people are starting to become aware that there's a shift.
yeah, exactly. And I would say the world really shifted, and the people that I'm talking to online are different than the people I was talking to before. And
Yeah.
it's been a lot more fun.
Yeah. 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 No,
So,
you got a lot going on. You're really, it's coming to, it's like a slingshot. You're pulling it back. And so what's happening is you don't realize how far you're going now, because you're just pulling, but it's just, everything's changing for you. How you see the world, the scope, the lens, everything you're looking through is completely different. I mean,
exactly.
Jenny, how many months the first time you couldn't even make the appointment? Like, you just you put it on your calendar, Jenny. Okay. I forgot to. Okay, this week it's on my calendar, but I forgot to look. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you would roll into your appointments like, okay, I'm here, Chris. Like, I got here. I don't want to do anything because I'm exhausted, right? And then my pride and joy is when you told me we are really accomplishing something, Chris. Here, I have not cried in 2 days. Like, okay, thank you. That's like saying, how are you feeling? Well, I'm doing great. I have not contemplated suicide once this week. Well, that's great. I was looking for a fine, how are you? That was
Yeah.
on the list. It kind of reminds me of my grandmother who lived in a different time. And when I was 16, I broke up with his boyfriend, whatever. And she's like, well, why'd you break up with him? I'm like, I've been with whatever. Another one came along. And she's like, what are you looking for? She says, he has a job. He doesn't hit you. He's never been to jail. I'm like, that's not even on the list, Grandma. None of those things are on the list, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. That's not what we're looking for, Grandma. He's never been to jail. Yay! So, yes. So
That's
I
funny.
think there's a lot happening. So just keep it up,
Okay.
and there's a lot. Stay focused, and let's keep working on your presentations as well. And
Okay.
yeah, so let's look at next week. Gosh, and pray my computer is healed.
I also got a new iPad so that I can look at my meeting calendar at the same time.
Oh, good.
So that is helping. And I think just some of the other ones are just, I'm getting better habits at last.
Yeah, you're getting more comfortable. Also, too, Jenny, when things calm down, the brain does, like, you're not in hysterical wartime. Like, your
Yeah.
adrenaline's not peaking all the time. So all you have is to be reactive and fearful because you're in that adrenaline race. Now, when you're a little calmer, you've got clarity, creativity, confidence. Like, it just gives you time to look instead of react. Okay. Next, oh, here we go. We can do the same time next week at 2 p.m.
Oh my gosh, it's the 30th.
No.
Yeah, that'll work.
Fabulous.
Okay,
We'll
I'm
see you
set.
then.
All
All
right,
right.
bye-bye.